Hey, so this week I read On the Other Side by Carrie Fletcher, and oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. It's just, there aren't words. There aren't words to describe this. Right, before I start though, I am going to say I am slightly biased here because I love Carrie. Carrie's one of my favourite YouTubers and I think she's awesome, and I read her last book, All I Know Now, and really enjoyed it. But on the other side, I'm slightly biased against this book because I hate romance novels. So I think I'm kind of like a normal person in the terms of bias when you tot those things up together. But seriously, this book is amazing. I loved it so much, and I hate romance novels, so this was weird. The reason why I picked this up in the first place was because A, I'm a big fan of Carrie, and B, because I'd really enjoyed All I Know Now. And C, actually, because I really liked the sort of supernatural things, and I thought this book was going to be a bit ghosty and a bit supernaturally. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot, and I'm really glad that I did, because this book follows the story of Evie, who is an 82-year-old who dies, and when she gets to her old apartment in the afterlife, it turns out she's been turned back into her 27-year-old self, where she had a lot of problems in her life, and to get into her own personal heaven, she has to reveal 3 secrets to her friends and family members, so she feels light enough to get through her own door. And oh my god, I love how this was written. You could really tell that Carrie had put her heart and soul into it, and you could tell there was so much Carrie in it, if you know what I mean, like with references to like Disney and stuff like that. You could really tell that Carrie had put everything she had into this book, and it sort of really shines through, which makes it a really nice and it's a really good read. It's sort of like being told a story by a friend, basically. It's really nicely written, and it's full of little Disney references and little sort of jokes and stuff, and it's really nice to read it. And I read this in a day. I don't read things in a day. The last book I read in a day was Carrie's last book. I don't read things in a day. I take more a week, sometimes 2 years, but we won't go there right now. I couldn't put it down because the way it was written and everything else, I physically could not put it down because I loved it so much. Not just because I'm a big fan of Carrie, but because it was written so well and the characters were so real and all the rest of it. And it wasn't just a love story, there was other stuff going on, which made it a really nice sort of, it wasn't your average love story, so I wasn't sort of throwing up somewhere like I usually do at love stories. I can't stand the usual chick flicky type stuff. So this was really nice to sort of have a real sense of story there to it, and I nearly cried at a few points, and I don't cry at things. I generally am really, like, I don't get emotional over books. I get emotional over some TV shows, but that's generally when a character dies or something like that happens. This time, I nearly cried several points in this, and I've never cried at a book, ever. I mean, I have never, ever in my life cried at a book. I've always sort of kept it level, never really cared. Well, I have cared, but I haven't cried over it. But this very nearly made me cry, which is a really strange feeling, and I'm not quite used to it. But despite that, I really love this book. I fell in love with Vincent, I really did. And I fell in love with Evie, and I really liked Jim and all the other characters. They were so well fleshed out, and the way it was written beautifully, and it was just, I really enjoyed this book. I've never enjoyed a book this much, I don't think. Or at least I haven't since, I don't know when the last time was that I enjoyed a book this much. I really enjoyed this book. I really loved it so much. There's nothing else I can say apart from I really enjoyed this book, and if you like Carrie, you're going to love this book, and if you don't like Carrie but you like romances, you're definitely going to like this book. And if you don't like romances but you're kind of on the fence about this because it's about a romance, just read it, because even though it is a romance, it's not all this is about, and there's a proper storyline to it, and it's not just will they, won't they. like usual romance books are. This had a proper, real storyline, and there were some really heartbreaking moments and some kind of funny moments and some really like moments where you feel like you're going to sing with joy, and it's just, it makes you feel really good inside in so many places, and I would really recommend reading this. It is amazing, seriously. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, and if you agree with me, please also give me a thumbs up. And if you have any other opinions on the book that you want to talk about, please write them down in the comments so we can all discuss this book, because I think it's amazing. The next book I'm going to be reading is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and if you want to see my review on that, please subscribe, or if you want to see any other reviews I'm going to do, please do not hesitate to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!